Hello and welcome to Two Guys and a Few Good Men. I am TJ Washuk.
And I am Garrett Loberg.
And this is Movie Lowdown for the week of October 29th, 2018.
So, you know what, TJ? Let's get right into the news.
Let's.
Do you want to start this week off?
Yeah, let's go. So first up, we have news about Gladiator 2. Ridley Scott and Peter Craig are currently working on Gladiator 2. Now, this is supposed to be a sequel to the original film. The villain is supposed to be Lucilla, I believe. That's the nephew of Joaquin Phoenix's character. I believe his name was Commodus. And
I've actually never seen this movie.
Really?
I have not seen Gladiator.
Oh.
So sorry to interrupt, but is it like a fictional story or is it like an actual play on actual events?
I want to. I've
Probably
seen the
a
movie.
play on
I'm pretty
events.
sure it's a play on actual events, but it's pretty close to how it was back in the day. But I don't think it's a real story.
It'd be interesting to see who they're going to bring on for this, because it's saying that it's happening. It's not like our next story that we'll talk about that is kind of in the works.
So for this movie, right now Ridley Scott is currently working on a TNT original drama called Raised by Wolves, and apparently he's going to start on this Gladiator 2 once he's finished with Raised by Wolves. So it's going to be probably a year from now, probably before it starts in production.
Next up, we've got Mike Myers in the news. Now, he was actually in the movie that we saw this week, but he's now coming out with something a little bit more known. Looks like we might be seeing Austin Powers 4 coming up here.
Yeah, speaking of sequels.
Right? And they're talking about this. They quoted it as, well, you're going to see Dr. Evil soon, somewhere in the culture. But the movie, I've had 3 kids under the age of 7. They took a long time to write. They always have. Been super crazy. He's doing a fantastic job right now that he's working on, but it's looking good. So it's not concrete yet, but we do have at least some plans to go for Austin Powers 4.
Yeah, and we kind of mentioned that when we saw the new Johnny English movie, or Johnny English trailer.
Yeah.
We were talking about it kind of makes you want a new Austin Powers movie, and look, a few weeks later, it's in the news.
Now, Johnny English is different. Johnny English is really easy to play coy, to play stupid. So that franchise, I never see, slapstick humor never is going to fall off the face of the earth. That's one thing you can always guarantee. So, but Austin Powers did have some sustenance to it. It wasn't a full-on parody. It was a lot of parody.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see if he could actually pull this off, because I wouldn't probably go see an Austin Powers 4 unless the trailer actually blew me away, because I know exactly what I'm going to get.
Yeah, and also, is he going to be the main character? Because he's kind of old now.
Yeah, so Austin Powers, he's not going to look like he did in the 90s. Yeah, baby, with Mojo, he's going to look like he's got a little bit more weight to him.
Yeah.
So, and like we were saying about this movie we saw this weekend, Freddie Mercury movie, he looks, even in this movie, he looks extremely old, and that's prosthetics, but he just looks a lot bigger, so it'd be interesting to see how they play it off, if they do, It's a Sun.
Well, even in Terminal, what's that movie, The Terminal?
Yeah, it was just Terminal.
Yeah, that came out recently. He was big in that movie.
Mm-hmm. So, he would have to lose weight. Also, I think that it's time for him to pass the torch on if he really wants to go in that sense, and they could maybe even hard reboot it to a younger generation, and have another character, obviously play Austin Powers. So it would be interesting to see what they do. I think that if they got an English-speaking person, that would be great, because it wouldn't be as, yeah, baby, it sounds so fake, but that's the charm of it.
True, but it also makes me wonder, is this going to connect with this new generation like it did for us? Because for us, I feel like English was still foreign, and there was more 007 movies, more in our culture, and now it's not too big, I don't feel.
Well, it was hot off the heels of GoldenEye,
Yeah.
which was a huge movie in the 90s. All the other Bond movies were really good, but this one really took off in the 90s, so that made the spy genre easy to, not manipulate, make fun of, like parody.
Yeah.
So is it going to be easy for them to parody this after, 10 years, 15 years of not doing anything?
Exactly. So it's definitely going to be for people, I guess, older millennials and even older than that, Generation X, I feel.
Yeah.
But anything younger than us, it's going to be hard, I feel, for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of hard, the London Fields movie, we talked about this trailer, I think it was 2 weeks ago it was out, and then 2 weeks later, London Fields dropped. It's the movie with...
we got Amber Heard.
What's her face?
Cara Delevingne.
The ex-wife of...
Amber Heard.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah. She's the main character in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to give you guys perspective, Box Mojo's records for the opening weekend go back to 1982, and in those 36 years, only 2 films have grossed less than $200,000 in the first weekend for wide release. These are movies that had a wide release, not just for the select theaters. These are movies that were in every theater. One was called Proud American, which was a forgotten film from 2008. The other is London Fields. This just released last week, and it was released over 600 theaters around the country, and it only made just about $168,000.
Well, it's good to know if you want to go smoke weed in a theater, this is the one to go do it in, because no one's going to be in your theater.
And just to get perspective on that, Suspiria, which came out in only a couple of theaters this week, made $20,000 more than them.
You know what? This is it all comes down in us doing the show now. I'm starting to see like patterns of why movies are successful, why movies aren't successful.
Yeah.
Why movies are sometimes not seen. It's marketing. Marketing plays a huge part in
why is Venom successful?
And why was it so talked about? Well, because people were going to say it was crappy, and we followed that.
Yeah.
We knew that we were either going to get something bad out of it or something good, and that's just Sony's track record. So when they put out that trailer a week before their movie, that says a lot about the movie. It means that, for one, no one knew this movie was coming out. No one was talking about it. I mean, I'm sitting on Reddit all the time, and I see all the things like this person joined this movie. I've never heard once about this movie.
Trailer.
Yeah, until the trailer came out, and it looks like just such a sexualized movie.
It does, especially like within this like Me Too or post Me Too culture right now.
Yeah, and then it's the story of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp working together when they were in a divorce.
Yeah, so that's the whole shit show right there.
But but it comes down to like, what if we saw this trailer, we might have said, "Wow, this looks like a terrible movie. Let's go see it."
Yeah.
And that's the problem with marketing is we see trailers every week. We start watching those trailers every week. When you see that a week before, you're not going to go see that in the movie theater. Guess what? You're going to go see Venom that's still out. You're going to go see Crazy Rich Asians if it's still out.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to go see...
I think it's still in the theaters, too.
So marketing really holds a candle to a lot of the stuff that goes on. And this definitely, even the trailer was just super, like...
Yeah.
Like, damn, like, Amber Heard's hot. And then you're like, wait, that's not what I should be pulling away from this trailer.
Exactly. And then also to talk about this movie... Even the director agrees with the 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, since this last month, I've been trying to not compare movies to Rotten Tomatoes anymore, but I still feel this is pretty funny. So the director of the movie, I think his name is Matthew Colin. He was saying that he had some creative differences with the producers throughout this movie. He wanted to do his own cut, but the producers wanted to have this theatrical cut. But, however, Colin was able to use his preferred cut, so in a few select theaters. So yes, there are actually 2 versions of London Fields playing in theaters right now.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that strange? I've never seen that before. But they still have combined not be able to, make as much money as Suspiria, which had limited release. Now, he's also saying that he's considering retiring from featured films. I kind of feel bad for this guy. He was kind of handed this plate of this divorced couple making a movie together, which I'm sure when they started the movie, they weren't in this
I think they were throughout the
so?
whole. For the amount of production and the amount of time that's been like from the filming aspect of it, it makes sense that they were probably at that part where the reason that Johnny Depp isn't even cameo or like credited, is because I guarantee you that was a thing of Heard's. Was when they got divorced. It was probably something like he can't be in your movies.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some stipulation to it because it's just weird for them not to put Johnny Depp in a like I know that he's been in other parts and like Tom Cruise has been in other parts where it's like really like whoa he's wearing a makeup, but you can tell it's Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
you can't play coy with it like oh it's not Johnny Depp, don't worry about it, it's somebody else.
And speaking of Johnny Depp, this is side note, he's not going to be in the new Pirates movie.
Yes, he did get
he got axed.
Yeah, and when you have 14 houses, you know somebody was talking about him the other day about like it was Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
did you get that part where he's like when you wake up from a 14-year coke binge and you're just like wait what I spent all my money on wine and coke and houses.
Yeah, like, apparently he's like he can't control his money spending habits, you know.
And he's looking all gaunt now. But they're saying that he's gonna be playing a part where it's like a cancer patient.
Oh, I was gonna say because he looks like a sad lesbian.
Yeah, and it's just he looks bad, and I'm hoping that it's not just because he's like
going crazy.
I mean, we all knew he was crazy to begin with, but this is a whole new level of Johnny Depp.
And here's the last news update.
Not surprising, Disney has already made its money back after buying Lucasfilm. We were just talking about this. It's been only 6 years and they've made that back. That doesn't surprise me. I gave them probably about I probably said 8 years.
Yeah.
When I originally was seeing the story, because it's such an easy franchise to make your money back. All you have to do is have shit ton of movies, make shitty movies. Whether they're good or not, and I'm not saying that the actual Star Wars movies are shitty, but you have Solo, which made a shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. That's a Lucasfilm. Last Jedi and the other. That's
Rogue One.
Rogue One. And then the first one that they came out with, the new one. So that's 4 movies right there at $1 billion each.
Easily, yeah.
So if they didn't make it back within 8 years, 10 years.
Well, not to mention the 2 Marvel movies they put out a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Disney, that I think that's a separate entity in its own.
Okay.
So I think they have a bunch of money. They have just this giant pit of money, and they're like one goes to Marvel.
It's like Scrooge McDuck's money pit.
Yeah. Some goes to some goes to Disney Films, some goes to Lucasfilm. So I guarantee you they have a pot, and they just take from that pot and put it into these movies. And Disney's just a crazy entity on its own.
Yeah.
So it's just reaching into its pocket and giving out $1 and it's here you go, Lucasfilm, go buy yourself a movie this year.
Jesus, all right.
So it doesn't make a lot of it doesn't not make sense that this happened, because I personally I think it should have been good after 5 years.
Yeah.
I know it's 6, but I think they could have done better at 5 because like I said, they've had 4 movies in the last 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, it cost them, it says here, $4.05 billion for acquiring them. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was undercut.
Yeah.
I feel like they are worth way more than that. Lucasfilms in general.
Well, I don't think they knew that that they were going to have so much success with Marvel. I don't think that ever played a part in it.
I'm sure, yeah.
And Disney on its own, they probably never thought they were going to continue doing it with Pixar. And make movies like they are. The Incredibles really gave them a bunch of money this year.
Yeah.
A ton of other films that they're coming out with. They're coming out with Jungle Book. They came out with Jungle Book. That was a good movie to make some money off of.
Oh yeah.
And even if they don't make what they made back, it's still money in their pocket, because they're really not paying much for these movies now that they have their own. They are paying a lot for these movies, but they have so much money right now that it almost makes sense for them to just keep putting out movies and getting money on the side.
Yeah, and I also have been seeing rumblings around the internet that people are really trying to push the Obi-Wan movie to come out.
Yeah. Well,
even though they said they aren't going to be doing a continuation of that type of story because of the failure of Solo.
Yes.
And
Ian McGregor, did you see where he just? I'm trying to think of where he just landed.
What?
He just landed a new role. I think it was a Marvel villain.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Well, isn't he in Marvel? Captain Marvel?
No, that's Jude Law.
Jude Law, okay. They always look the same to me.
Right? I'm trying to think of what position he got. We can look it up really quick here. Because it was just announced last night.
It's alright. We'll get there eventually. Alright, I am IMDb.
Suicide
Squad.
Birds of Prey.
Oh, that's right. He's gonna be a Black Mask.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. I'm not a DC right now, so it's like...
Yeah.
I was trying to think if it was Marvel or...
Yeah, that's right. I saw that earlier today. So yeah, that's Black Mask. And also, on that note, the director confirmed that's gonna be a rated R film.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Remember we were talking about it yesterday?
We'll see how that goes. I mean...
I think that's the first DC movie that has been rated R.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about that yesterday too.
Yeah, because everyone has been about PG-13.
Yeah.
No. Or pushing the boundaries on PG-13.
Yeah. So, DC's, I don't know if they're going in the right direction. And I don't mean that in like, I don't know if they're going in the right direction. I don't know
what the direction.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we'll see it at Aquaman, because I think that if Aquaman absolutely fails, then they're gonna have to come out and say, you know what, guys, we messed up. Here's a brand new. We're gonna do Birds of Prey. It's not gonna be part of that universe. We're gonna do Wonder Woman. It's not gonna be part of that universe. So, sorry. Like, that's the only thing I can think of that they're gonna be able to do.
And then also they put out another Aquaman trailer this week. Another TV spot.
Okay.
So they're really pushing Aquaman.
It makes sense that the TV spot would come out now, especially getting closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
What would be even crazier is if they come out with another trailer. I know they will, and that'll be the death in the coffin. If it's anywhere over 3 minutes long.
Because I feel like they're doing like a Hail Mary on this movie because it's like the last of the DCEU.
Yeah, and it's like. It's setting up a big stage because it's like they're trying to take over the world. The Atlanteans are trying to take over the world. The brother is.
Yeah.
And so like, why wouldn't Batman? And it's almost like it goes back to the whole Marvel thing. Well, in Iron Man 3, why if the world?
Where's Ant-Man? Where's Hawkeye?
Yeah. Where's all the other people that would have been able to save him? Mm-hmm. Especially if the president got kidnapped. Are you kidding?
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things that you could nitpick, but I think, to be honest, the DC EU is just so crumbled at this point that it's too easy to nitpick on.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's going to do it for this week's news stories. We're going to skip this week's trailers just because we didn't really see anyone that looked that interesting to talk about. Maybe to you guys there were, but the movies that we saw that were released this week in trailers, not so good.
Yeah, it's in no way that the trailer from last week that we really liked. That one kid.
Oh, the Prodigy?
No, it was the one about...
Ben.
Ben.
What's his name? I don't remember his name.
It was Ben.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's been in so many movies, that guy. But let's move on to our movie review. Movie reviews.
And this week we got to see... the actual title is...
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't know if it had, like... a Freddie Mercury movie.
Oh no!
But basically, it was a biopic on Freddie Mercury, starring Rami.
Yeah, Rami Malek,
and another handful of really well-known actors. In the sense of Mike Myers is in it.
Yeah.
The guy from Game of Thrones is in it.
Yeah, Littlefinger.
There's a couple of characters from a lot of TV shows in the band. So there's a lot of people in this movie they did a really good job acting.
Yes.
And they played it really well in the sense that I never felt like I was watching a movie the whole time.
It almost felt like a documentary, in a way.
Yeah. So, absolutely fantastic movie, in my opinion.
The actors did amazing. Rami Malek, he was great in Mr. Robot, and he's amazing in this movie. He really nails Freddie Mercury's look.
He goes through a whole timeline of Freddie Mercury, and he plays it so well because he plays at the beginning. He plays a really young, naive kid, and as he's getting more fame, you start seeing his ego go up, and he becomes more flamboyant.
Yeah,
and it's like just from when the first recording, he starts being more flamboyant, and oh darling, like I've got this.
Yeah,
and it just going up to where he's like coked out and just in a bad place and sick.
Yeah. Like, even though he was doing drugs, it didn't really show it in this movie because it's PG-13.
Yes.
So, but it was assumed that he was doing coke, and because they said, "Are you high?" Even though you don't see him get high.
Yeah, and they're talking about him being drunk too in that part. Like they're like, "Why don't you have another drink?" And it's like, okay, I get what they're doing. They're trying to play it off, and I get that.
Just so a more broader audience could see it, I think.
Which posed me to, I wonder how it's going to go in Elton John.
Yeah.
Because they actually have it where I think he's overdosed, and I think I saw that in the trailer where they're putting him up on a stretcher or whatever.
That has to be rated R, I think.
We'll see.
Maybe, I don't know.
Probably. But
yeah, this movie, cinematography was awesome. This ending finale scene with the Live Aid, amazing. They pretty much did it frame from frame of the original concert, and I was telling Garrett yesterday that that's one of my favorite concerts to watch on YouTube. You can watch it right now if you want. Just type in Live Aid Queen performance, and it is awesome.
And they explain like all the things that are happening up to that point, which none of us knew. I mean, you maybe if you read a biography or anything like that, but no one ever realizes like that Live Aid concert was right before he died. Not right before, but I think not too long after, and he was struggling. He never had his voice at that point. And one of the big lines that I really liked in the movie was that when he's out on the stage, he feels like he can sing every note.
Yeah.
And at the end, they bring that up where it says where they're showing rehearsals.
It's because the people like lift up his spirits, you know.
And they showed that rehearsal where he's singing really badly, and they're all like, "Oh, let's hope this happens." And he tells everyone he has AIDS. But then you get to that end of the movie, and you're like, "Oh, he's gonna sing crappy. He couldn't even sing." But then he gets up on the stage, and they actually say it actually happens where it's like, oh, they came full circle and actually made that into a plot point in this movie.
Yeah, and there are a few things that I saw negative in the media today after seeing this movie. One is people were upset that they didn't dive too much into his family life, which I felt like they did an okay job with.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were saying, because he is Pakistani, or I guess Pakistani Indian.
Yeah.
And they did touch on that, but he didn't want to be known for being Indian or Pakistani. So that's why they didn't really touch too much onto it.
Yeah.
And then another thing was people are kind of mad about the sexuality of Freddie Mercury in the movie, which I didn't really see anything that was wrong. I felt like he is a gay man, and they portrayed it well. They didn't go over the top with his gayness,
not at all.
where it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it was still, I think they portrayed it well, so I'm not sure what their gripes on that were.
I always thought like the one scene that really didn't I didn't like in it was the truck stop scene.
Yeah, they kind of stopped on that. I wonder if they cut that out, that scene maybe?
Yeah, because like if you're not watching it and you don't know he's gay, you're seeing I thought the truck driver looked mad at him, like he was doing
mad
something. Yeah, and when he went in there, it's like, how would he know that he was he was gay, or he was proposing to him to come into the bathroom.
Right.
So, like, I think that's probably the only scene where they're trying to portray, like, oh, he's gonna cheat on his soon-to-be wife.
Right.
But at that point, like, well, they don't show anything else, and then they, like, completely shrug it off.
They do.
For, like, almost, like, a half an hour, and then they're like, oh, by the way, honey, I'm gay. Or she's like, I knew you were gay the whole time. It's like, then why wouldn't you say something, too? Like, it's on her own fault that she didn't say anything and go, hey, are you gay, or like, do you fancy other guys? She kept going with that, and that put herself in that.
She did to herself, and she mentions that.
Yeah.
She just wanted to believe that they could be together because she loves him. And she loved him throughout his whole life, even though when they broke up, she was still in love with the guy, and they had a great relationship. Now, there were a few things I looked up just to see how accurate the movie was, just to touch really quick. First off, the AIDS, he contracted the AIDS 2 years after the Live Aid concert. He was diagnosed in 1987 and not 1985, like when the concert happened. So that was a little inaccuracy. And then also, the film depicts that Freddie met the band members for the first time after a gig, but in reality, Freddie Mercury actually not only knew the members of Queen, but they also had a apartment together.
Ah, okay.
So they kind of like sped up the time frame and just to make it more a little dramatic for certain scenes.
Well, if they had to drag out how they all met, I think that would have been the problem. So I like how they did
I agree.
consolidate it, but at the same time, inaccuracies are...
And then, I guess one more thing, sorry.
Yeah.
Ray Foster, Mike Myers' character, he's a record executive who insists that Bohemian Rhapsody is a terrible idea for the song, but that character was fabricated and is actually loosely based on several music industry figures.
And that doesn't surprise me, because back in the 80s and the 70s, it was just a bunch of people that would come in and listen to your music.
Yeah.
Even like that scene where they're first recording their first album, you see a bunch of executives in there, and then the one walks in. That's how it was.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You would go in there and play it in front of a bunch of people.
Exactly. Not just one person.
Yeah, because if you think about it, that'd be kind of skewed to think that you're the one that found this person, when you need to have other opinions. So
I think why they kind of fabricated is because Mike Myers, no matter what, wanted to be in this movie.
Really?
Because he is a huge Queen fan.
Okay. Well, yeah, because we'd even said that it was in Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, they sing Bohemian Rhapsody, and he critiques it in the movie, which is hilarious.
Yep. It'll never be a song that you can play in your car.
Yeah.
What?
Right. And there's so much good humor in this movie. I definitely recommend you guys seeing this. And we saw it in the Cine Capri.
It was amazing.
Which has Dolby Atmos sound, so if you could see it in the theater, it's definitely preferred. Just 'cause how awesome it feels to be hear it all around you.
We were even commenting on the trailers. They only do them up the front.
Yeah.
They don't do the surrounds because obviously they don't have that ability for
in the trailer.
Yeah, and so I'm listening to the surround sound. I'm like, but then you hear it in the trailer and you're like, oh, this isn't. It's literally coming from only the front.
Like the wall, pretty much.
And then they do that little all around you, but it's a different one where it actually lets you hear it.
Like the rain and the storm.
I love it because when they have that bird fly,
around,
I can take my eye and follow that bird, and I'm not even looking at a bird.
Yeah, it goes around your body.
Yeah. And I thought this was great for this music movie because it played that music at a 360 degree, and every time you're hearing it, it's like it's going right to you.
Especially the last scene when they're at the concert.
Yeah.
For the Live Aid.
Talk about goosebumps, man.
Yeah, man, I was feeling a lot from this movie. You get sad, there's happiness, there's laughter. Pretty much everything you want from a movie is in it.
Yeah.
You know, it has its ups and downs.
Exactly. And I thought, even though the story's all planned out, they did a really good job of, other movies, I feel like they're kind of lazy when they do biopics because they already have all the information. They can either make stuff up if they want. But this really played on if you didn't know Freddie Mercury, you get a good, it doesn't just show him as a good guy and they brush off the small things. He was an asshole. Yeah, he took a $4 billion pay raise
to go do his own stuff,
and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to have Queen." And, they're not
me down.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because that's where you realize that they did cut their albums short because of that.
Yeah, and I like that he realized. I'm sure he didn't realize, but he realizes that he needed Queen. He needed their pushback instead of mindless minions, doing whatever he tells them to do.
Yes, man, on that.
Yes, man, exactly.
Yeah. And one of my favorite scenes, I gotta say, this was my favorite scene, was when they're sitting in the office and it comes full circle and he's wanting to get back with them. And what he always did was he would show up late.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is where are they at? And he goes, well, I guess they're late. And then when they come in, and that's a funny part. And then my favorite part of that scene is when he's sitting there and they're like, well, we need to talk about it. Do you mind stepping outside? And then they're like, why'd you have him step outside? And he's like, I don't know. I just wanted to do it. Yeah. It's something that I would do.
It's like a power move,
Yeah. And he's sitting out there, and then the lawyer, Miami, great.
Oh, my God.
Great nickname, too. It's just he was such a great spirit,
Oh, yeah. Even though he was a dick at times, he was
and I think that's the problem. And I like a lot of gay people in that sense because they're so flamboyant and they show you a different perspective of a male because we're always so and that's kind of the way I've always...
It's maleistic but also feministic.
Exactly. And I've pulled a lot of my stuff from Freddie Mercury. My own mannerisms. Now, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
I'm not, in the sense, bi or anything like that. So, I don't think that has to do with anything. People pull that from that. But just being yourself doesn't have to be so serious all the time. You don't have to, not show emotion. I was halfway almost to crying in most of this movie.
Yeah,
like
same,
there was times
honestly.
where it was like if one more sad thing happened, I'm going to cry right now. And it'd be luckily to change the scene, but they portrayed it so well of him being such a free person, man. And just not caring, even though that he had, it was hard to find himself. I think they did a good job of showing him almost go over the rainbow, start as this no one, and then slowly get to that top part, and then get down to the end and graciously.
It seemed like throughout this movie he knew that he was great, and he stayed at that greatness because he put out that persona and he never strayed from it, and that's awesome to see. Like, he never changed who he was, kind of.
Exactly, and that's what you see in the music industry is people...
They change.
Exactly. You look at a Lil Wayne album from... And I know this is a bad example. You look at a Lil Wayne album from when he was, 20 to now, it's completely different. And we're not as lucky to see somebody change like he did, because obviously he died in 91.
91, yeah.
So, and I like that they didn't touch on that in the movie.
True. I thought they were going to show him, dying in the movie.
They didn't make the AIDS a big thing, and I'm glad that they... Not
because he didn't make a big thing.
Exactly.
He didn't. Freddie didn't.
If they had made it, such, a big, this happened.
Yeah.
We get it. We know that AIDS happened. And, maybe generations don't know, but they did a really good job of playing it up. They showed a bunch of sick people in the hospital. I like the part where he's walking out of the clinic after he found it.
Yeah, the kid.
And he was like, hey, da-da. And he's like,
hey, da-da.
Yeah, and he says back.
Callbacks, yeah.
So, but all around, it was just a really wholesome movie. I think it's sitting at 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, which shows you exactly why they're so skewed.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes,
You talk about, what we saw Venom. This has definitely been a year where we're
really questioning the validity of Rotten Tomatoes.
And I do trust them, but a lot of times now I'm like, well, how many movies have I missed out because I looked at it and I went Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, same here, honestly. And, but yeah, that has been Bohemian Rhapsody, our review. That's going to do it for this week's Movie Lowdown. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. We just have a question of the week. Which was a better band, Queen or the Beatles?
And what was your favorite song? My Car? Or I like that was a throwback.
Yeah.
And that they kept coming back to My Car, and it's like, what did you want to do with your car? And they kept coming back at it. So was your favorite song We Will Rock You or My Car?
My Car, yeah.
Now I gotta go listen to that song.
Yeah, same here. I've never even heard of it.
But great movie altogether.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our friends' podcast, Chocolate Swordfish. They will be posting, I think they post twice a week. So if you can find them on iTunes, that's Chocolate Swordfish. I think they are also starting on YouTube. You can find them on here. Without further extending this, I am TJ Washuk.
And I am Hoover Vacuum.
Thank you, and good night.
This has been a Two Guys production.
Mama just killed a man.